Hallo, herzlich willkommen. Welcome to the program dctb.tv from the Republica 14, the 8th Republica in Berlin, in the station. My name is Philip Banse and my next guests are the Yes-Men. Welcome to our small show here. Thank you very much for coming. You're very tired, as I heard.
A little bit.
How come?
Far away, United
Traveling.
States,
Okay.
airplane, all that.
But you did a great talk, as I heard. I haven't been there. You are media, how do you call yourself? Media activist, media hacker? How would you describe yourself?
Yeah, you can describe us.
You're a media hacker, I would say. Because you hack the media. I don't know. What do you...
We come up with excuses for journalists to cover important issues. We give journalists, mainstream journalists, ways to cover important issues that maybe they're already covering, but maybe not enough, or maybe they're not covering them at all. And if we provide a joke, like, impersonate somebody or do something funny, then they can cover it.
Yeah.
So it's hacking in a way.
Let's do some examples. For example, what was the recent thing you mentioned on your talk? The one with the security conference, and you were like the PR firm of Colin Powell, right?
Yeah.
Talk about it. What did you do? What did you do there?
Well, we posed as Colin Powell's security PR firm, and got Colin Powell invited to a conference. And when the time came to actually show up, there were two collaborators of Colin Powell there, us, as well as a whole retinue of people waiting for Colin Powell that were with us. And we went on and to this conference and announced a great new plan to convert the U.S. to entirely renewable energy by 2030.
But how did you do it? I mean, you just called the conference and said, well, we have Colin Powell here. If you like, he can speak at your conference?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, there's emailing, there's calling, but it's just offering them something that they would like to have. I mean, I'm sure that Republica would like to have Colin Powell here too. So if I called up and said, it's very important that Colin Powell speak at Republica this year, and it's free, perhaps the organizers of this would have said, well, weird, but we can fit him in.
Yeah. Or David Hasselhoff.
David Hasselhoff.
For example.
Like, imagine.
Ah.
And then you'd be very surprised when David Hasselhoff doesn't show up, but somebody else does who looks a bit like him and does something really strange.
And then next, they said, well, welcome, Colin Powell should come. And then instead of Colin Powell, you showed up.
Yeah, that's what happened. Yeah.
And they said, well, you don't look like...
Well, no, I mean, I was called because Colin Powell had a problem. He couldn't make it. He was called away to the White House. And
Stomach virus, very bad.
Did you have any kind of credentials?
No. What?
Did you have any kind of credentials? No.
No,
just
never.
said, well, I know.
No, I'm with the Department of Energy, and I walked in, and I said I was called here. I mean, he was there at the conference. Mike was talking to the organizers, saying, "Well, okay, Powell isn't there, but one of the partners in this plan that he was going to talk about, he's going to come. He's on his way across DC," and that was me. And I show up at the last minute, and there I am.
And you give the speech like we change our climate policy and everything will be fine.
Yeah.
So, and did you dress up anyhow? I mean,
suit,
tie,
that's it. Nice tie,
and a wig.
And
he
a wig.
was wearing a really bad wig.
That was a mistake.
I mean, you didn't do it the first time, right? I mean, people supposed to know you, no?
The idea was to not be recognized, and certainly with this wig, I was not very recognizable, except as a lunatic. Like, it was a really strange, big, fluffy wig that men usually don't wear, unless we're going to a nightclub and off to have a good time. And it was a drag. It was a drag wig, basically. And it was.
And what kind of conference was it? Like a really serious security
Homeland
conference?
Security conference.
Okay.
Yeah, so very
so
serious.
The serious guys.
Yeah.
Okay. How did it feel being on a stage, impersonating an official person, talking about official U.S. policy?
Fine.
Huh? Good.
Yeah, good.
And how did people react?
Well, they applauded and at the end danced.
They danced. They danced with glee and enthusiasm. At the end of this speech, well, first Andy from the Department of Energy spoke. His name was Benedict Waterman. Then there was a speaker from the Bureau of Indian Affairs who was called Bana Slowhorse. His real name is Gits Crazy Boy, and he's from up in the northern part of Canada where they're extracting the tar sands. So he's from one of the most impacted places in the world in terms of the extraction industry. His ancestral homelands have just been decimated. And so he was there as a, and then the part of the plan involved locating all of these new wind farms and solar farms on Native American land.
Okay.
And it would be owned by Native Americans as reparations. So he gave a speech, and it was very stirring. People were quite moved. And then finally, to celebrate the new government plan and the unity between, the Indians and the military, this, coming together of peoples, everybody got up and did a fake Native American circle dance.
Apart from the fun thing, apart from the fun, it's fun to do this and so on. What do you intend? Do you want to change anything?
Do we want to change anything?
Yes. Why do you do it?
Well, yeah. We would. It's fun, but we wouldn't do it if we didn't want to change something.
Okay. What can you change? What did it change?
What do we want to change, or
Yeah.
what did we change?
Let's stay with this concrete example. How do you change something by impersonating a fascist?
With this concrete example,
Yeah.
it's too early to know.
Yeah.
Any action like this happened last week.
Okay.
So there is a movement out there to change things. There are lots of there's a movement to shut down the tar sands. There's movements to shut down pipelines. There's movements to do exactly what I called for in this speech, right?
Yeah.
So does any one action actually succeed? So there's a bunch of protesters outside of the Keystone XL, outside of the White House protesting against the Keystone XL. Does it stop the Keystone XL? I don't know. It doesn't look like it because the Keystone, it doesn't, the process keeps going. But it's a fact that if there wasn't a movement to shut down the Keystone XL, it would have already been approved by now. So you can't point to any one action and say that did it. Or that, what about segregation or slavery? How did slavery stop? Was there one action that did it? No, it was like a mass of people fighting it in all kinds of ways, and you can never point to one action that did it, but it stopped. And same with segregation in the South, or so on. There's always a lot of different factors that add into change, and you can never say, oh, that did it or that did it. It may be that our action isn't the most important. Maybe we could have had more effect by going to the White House and protesting the way others do, but we do what we can.
Take the Bhopal BBC thing.
Mm-hmm.
So you impersonated a speaker of Dow Chemical.
Well, I would rather take the Chamber of Commerce example.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Because with that, we impersonated the Chamber of Commerce and announced that we were shifting position on climate legislation.
So you did a fake press conference.
Yeah.
And you say there's the Chamber of Commerce. Well,
yeah.
We will no longer block the U.S.
We will no longer block the
oppose
climate legislation that's happening. And the Chamber of Commerce was opposing the climate legislation. And there were a lot of activists who were very angry about that and were causing a lot of stir. They were being active in various ways. They were forcing companies to pull out of the chamber. There was all kinds of stuff that was happening. We did our action, which got a tremendous amount of media attention and was embarrassing for the chamber, so much that they sued us afterwards, in fact. They were very angry.
And
2 weeks later, they actually stopped opposing the climate legislation. It wasn't because of our action. We didn't do that. And it wasn't because of any one of the other actions that happened either. But with thousands of people doing stuff, it actually made the difference. They wouldn't have done it otherwise. So, people go, oh, why bother being an activist? What good does that do? That action, that doesn't work. That doesn't work. But almost every movement there is succeeds. It's really hard to point to a movement that doesn't succeed, ultimately. If enough people are behind it and if enough people are in the streets, it generally succeeds.
So in my view, one thing is you might have this aim, this with every action the concrete aim. Let's say with the Chamber of Commerce, well, you wanted to do something about the US climate policy. But on the other hand, there's this meta level where, in my view, you try to, I don't know, show how media works. How, no?
No, that's
Okay.
incidental. Like we use the media, we collaborate with journalists inside the nasty media machine. Maybe you find that out incidentally, but what we really want to do is stop climate change, bring democracy, all that. And the media is evil in its own ways. But there are journalists within the media who are trying to do the right thing.
But for me as a viewer, it's shocking how easy it is to say, well, I'm an expert, I'm the spokesperson for Dow Chemical, and BBC says, well, go ahead, come on our live television.
But most of what we see on the media are experts with no expertise. I mean, there are all these people who serve as pundits whose job it is basically to go and be interviewed on television expressing some area of expertise that actually has ideological or economic angle that's meant to benefit the people with money that hired them to do it. So we have all of these think tanks in the United States, the Competitive Enterprise Institute, the American Enterprise Institute, the various kinds of foundations. A lot of them are nonprofit organizations with budgets in the millions and millions of dollars a year, and they spend a lot of money simply trying to place these fake experts on television. And so that's, when you're up against that, is it any wonder that more fake experts also make it on the air? It's not a mystery, and that's in part because we've got a profit-driven media system by and large, and that is going to be at odds with democracy in general. Like it's not going to deliver accuracy; it's going to deliver whatever pays the bills.
And when you plan such an action, do you calculate the outcome? Do you sit back and go, let's do this fake press conference? Well, the main thing is we do it, or do you try to think, well, it might happen A, B, C, D, and if D happens, then we should do C.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think about it?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I mean, what we think about is driving attention to an issue, and then what do people do when they know about the issue? How do they connect to other groups, to other people who are fighting on the same issue? So with this, there's a project that we found called the Solutions Project that is actually fighting to make a renewable policy in all 50 United States and has plans for each state and all that. So we publicize that as part of the action. And hopefully it gets out and people find a way to participate in that. And yeah, I mean, we're not in power, so we're not like strategists like that where we can say A, B, C. But what we can say is like, what we can do is try to get people to be more active and do something. Yeah.
And you said, for example, the Chamber of Commerce sued you. How did it end?
They dropped the suit
They
4
dropped
years
suit.
later.
Have you ever been successfully sued?
No.
No.
That was the only time we've ever been sued.
Okay. And say people want to do something like you do. Can you give some examples, some hints what you should do? For example, I know some guys who collect like Twitter accounts and build up some fake personas to have a persona with a history if they impersonate some.
There isn't really one way. There's a lot of ways to do things. One thing you can do right now is there's a book, Beautiful Trouble, that's coming out in German soon, and it has a lot of hints for activists, like how to think about it, things you could do, case studies, tactics that you can use, principles of it. Another thing, we're building a platform. Our new movie is coming out. We're finishing it now. It'll be distributed in Germany, we hope. It's called The Yes-Men Are Revolting. And at the end of the film, we launch a platform called the Action Switchboard that will allow anybody to get our help or get help of people who know this sort of thing in carrying out their own action of this sort.
Maybe you can nevertheless pass something on you've learned. I mean, you've been doing this for now, 10, 15 years?
Well, like, what do you want to do?
I don't know. I mean, for example, one thing you do is impersonating people. Okay, you.
No, come up with a project right now. Suggest something that you want to go do, and we'll tell you how to do it.
Okay. Let me think. Of okay. Okay. I wanna appear in the Tagesschau. I don't know. It's the 8 o'clock news. Okay. 8 o'clock news, and I want to say, as a member of or an official of the Bundesregierung, of our government, to say, well, we decided to grant political asylum to Edward Snowden. Let's say we thought, I don't know, 2 days ago we said something else.
You might start a little smaller, like maybe go to a conference or something like that as a representative of the German government.
Yeah,
and say
invited.
make the announcement at a conference. Because getting on the mainstream news, like you could just go into the mainstream news and start yelling, like the people have done that.
Okay, but they wouldn't take me for serious. Yeah. Okay, conference.
Wouldn't get in that much trouble, but. Go to a conference.
Okay.
You can do that. Yeah, we could tell you how to go to a conference. Get in to a conference as the German government. It's a long story, though. I mean, it's not hard. It's just a matter.
What do I need? Do I need a website? Do people Google me?
You don't need a website. You could, but you might need a domain name.
Yeah.
That you could resolve to the real website. So then you have an email address, right? If you got a domain name, and you have email with it.
Fake cell phone, maybe.
But
yeah, it'd be nice to get a pay-per-use cell phone.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm a journalist. I do video stuff. I have a website with my photo on and everything. This doesn't disappear. I mean,
you could grow a mustache.
Pardon?
You could grow a mustache.
Okay. You think that
What
works?
do you mean? What doesn't disappear?
If people might know me, okay?
Oh, you don't have to show your face. You could also just send out an announcement if you want, or get somebody else to go. Or you could disguise yourself, wear a wig, whatever you want.
Plastic surgery.
Getting into the conference is the tricky part. Once you're there, you stand up, you do your thing. You can be a little disguised. You'll get away with it.
You get horns implanted on your head right here.
Yeah. But if you want to get into the conference, then you can pose as an agency representing the German government. Whatever, you could figure it out.
Okay. And is there a limit of the craziness of the I can propose? I mean,
no.
No.
No, in fact, we've discovered that there's no limit. But we suggest ramping up, right? You start with some modest proposals and then you get extreme. And, the only regret I have from last week is that we didn't do something really, really nuts at the end. I mean, we did. Everybody danced together and it was uplifting. But then it seemed like a missed opportunity to not have done something completely bonkers and surreal at the end. Whether or not we would use it in the movie, it just would have been fun because there was this whole room full of people, an audience. And our main concern at that moment was getting out with the footage and making sure that we had, because the scene was done for a movie. But at the same time, it's so rare to sit in front of an admiral and a general and Congress people and defense contractors and have the opportunity to do whatever you want. I mean, who knows?
Why is it so hard to get on television? What do I have to do? You said, well, get on television is a little bit hard. Don't start with this.
Well, I mean, you're talking about a show. You could probably figure it out. It happened to us once, by chance.
Twice?
Oh, yeah, twice by chance.
Dow Chemical?
Dow Chemical, and once before as the World Trade Organization. And both the same story. The TV stations came to our fake website and invited us. So, you could try that. I guess it's a little hit or miss. Conference is more,
but
sure.
Well, the thing about it's not like what we're talking about is being directly on as a representative. But you might, if you go to a smaller conference or something like that and you tape it and you package it properly, then you might be able to go and put that on TV. So it's a back door. It's not saying I'm going to be a representative. I'm going to fake out this TV station with all of their researchers and whatever. Instead, it's saying I'm going to do an action and then show people at the TV station what it was and see if the news wants to run that.
Okay. But how did you make it? I mean, you have been on BBC for the Dow Chemical as a representative, right?
Yeah.
And did they call you or did?
Yeah, we had a fake website and they went to the website. You could see it in our last film, The Yes-Men Fix the World. The whole story is told there, how it happened and how we did it.
Okay, you
and all
told
that.
it. You told it.
Yeah,
once too
no,
often.
it's
Okay,
good. It's, I
okay.
mean, you can actually get it online, so it's easy.
Do you rehearse your speech when you go to a conference, or
Yeah.
do you improvise?
No, very rehearsed. I write down every word and read every single word. Yeah, I'm so nervous I don't want to leave it to chance.
Okay.
But then the best stuff is when I improvise afterwards, when there's a question, and then
Yeah. Improvising can be really fun in that context. If you get in character and then you improvise, yeah, I mean, there were some great improvised moments in Bana Slow Horse's speech this time. He was the First
Indian-
Nations Canadian dude who came with us. His real name is Gets Crazy Boy, and he had a speech plan, but then there were entire sections of it that he went off script and just walked into the audience and poured glasses of water, talking about how we need clean water, and it was very moving because he was really, at that moment, he was really engaging, walking out into and playing the audience, working them.
all right.
All right.
You gotta go, I think, and take a nap.
It's okay. It's fine.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming. I
Thank you.
really appreciate your work. Yeah. Thanks very much for watching. This is DCTP from the Republica. This was the Yes-Man, and my name is Philip Banse. And you can watch this video on the YouTube channel of dctp.tv or on our website dctp.tv. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Bye.